Welcome to Sips and Spirits, a podcast for those who love spirits of both the alcoholic and spectral kinds. I am your hostess, Chelsea.
Hostess.
I feel like I change it every time.
Every time you change it. I'm your co-host, or her co-host, not your co-host. Her co-host, Eric.
I guess we would be their co-hosts.
I guess their co-host. I'm the other host.
It has been a while since we've been on the mics. It's so nice.
It's been a while. We took a little break after the holidays. And now we're back and ready to go on new adventures.
Yeah, we're so excited.
We're so excited for some fun
new
things.
Spirits, new drinks.
New drinks, new adventures, new we'll get into that.
New spooks and scares.
But before we get started, a little disclaimer. We are not historians. Any facts or stories presented are from various sources, and we mean no disrespect if something's not presented 100% accurate. We say percent a lot. We make no claims that these stories are true, or these tales are true. Stories or tales. We just found them to be spooky and interesting in nature.
Right, and on that note, we are not mixologists either, and not professional anyways.
Not professional.
All cocktails and spirits are tasted for the first time during episode recordings unless noted otherwise, and which this time I get to say I have actually tried this wine before.
Have I?
I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
I know you were here when we tried it. I don't know if you actually had a glass with us.
Okay.
But I'll admit I don't quite remember, and I feel like the bottle I hadn't been sitting too long or something because it didn't quite have like a fresh wine flavor, if that makes sense to anybody. But yeah.
I want to add another disclaimer before we get started. We are tasting a wine, number one. If you can guess that from now. I like wine. I enjoy drinking wine, but it's not my to-go.
This is like a personal disclaimer.
Like a personal disclaimer. It's not my to-go drink. So in my tasting notes, if I'm saying like, I don't like it or whatever for a reason, it's not that I think it's bad. It's just it's not my to-go thing.
It's not your preference.
Like I to me, whenever I go to like somebody's house or party, they're like, "Hey, you want something to drink?" I'm like, "Sure, what do you got?" I'm like, "Oh, I got some wine." I'm like, "Can I just get some water?" Like it's not that I don't enjoy wine. It's like I enjoy wine at dinner.
You have to be in the right mindset for it.
But it's not like my recreational, like just my like, oh, I'm gonna pour you a glass and just start talking. Like, no, I don't. That's not gonna.
Meanwhile, I, on the other hand, if I was able to, without children, if I didn't have my kids, I'd probably have a glass of wine every night just to relax, or just while I'm working on stuff.
While working on stuff, watching TV or something. Yeah.
If I could make it happen, it just doesn't happen. So I enjoy wines, drinking wines, but I also enjoy learning about the winemaking process. So I am a glutton for a fun tasting room or tasting hour. The more education, the better for me.
The more education, the more you learn.
Exactly. I get really excited.
The more you know. There we go. Not learn. The more you know. But yeah. Anywho. So, what are we drinking tonight?
Today we are calling upon a spirit from the Grateful Palate. They're a wine producer based in 3 different locations, so it's going to be a lot of geographical information. I apologize.
Okay.
So they're based in Los Angeles, Barcelona, and San Francisco. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't have LA and SF grouped together.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying like geographical
and
location.
They produce their wines. So those are their home bases, but they produce their wines in Spain, France, and Oregon. We are using their bourbon barrel red blend to summon a Southern Belle to the table. Ooh.
Southern Belle.
Well, let's go ahead and get this bottle down.
What was that?
Just keep going. It was a notification on my laptop, apparently.
Okay, Southern Belle. So, are we going to talk about this lovely label?
It'll be in my
in
my liquor facts.
Okay, cool.
Then So let's bring it down. Let people take a look at this. If not, I'll drop a picture of the bottle because it's a gorgeous bottle. mainly why we were drawn to it and why I was drawn to it. I actually heard about this in like a Halloween wine list like many, many, many years ago. I was on the hunt for it, couldn't find it, and then happened to come across it in World Market.
So one cool thing about this is not a cork bottle.
Right. So if you are not a frequent wine drinker, don't have a corkscrew on hand,
And don't want
this is a twist top.
Don't want to try to chew to uncork it.
Well, if you have a twist top, you don't have to try anything crazy.
Yeah.
You just have to be able to twist.
Oh wait.
So
Pourer.
yeah. Oh yeah. We're using a pourer. You don't have to. I just felt like this pourer paired really well with the bottle artwork. Because it's like one of the Sugar Skull designs. And if you notice on the bottle label, she actually has skeletons coming out of the bottom of her dress. So I thought it'd be appropriate pour. And for those who are not frequent wine drinkers, you use a pourer to kind of like speed what they call aerate the wine to kind of give it some air, allow it to breathe before you drink it. But you're supposed to like open the bottle, let it sit for an hour and then drink it. But not everybody has time for that. So that's why you have these pourers. Plus it also, if you're not a very tidy pourer, it helps you pour it a little bit more precisely. But yeah. And I think we can put the bottle right there too.
Did I pour stuff more than you?
It's fine. We'll
drink it.
We'll drink it.
Cool. Groovy.
But yeah, so I came across this in World Market and I was very excited. And I was very excited to learn it's something that's not just available because World Market is one of those places that's infamous for having like season specific wines. And as we've talked about on here before, really want to make sure we are giving you guys spirits that you can find any time of the year. So this is a, what do you call it? Like a regular for staple. World Market to regular, carry.
You're right.
Yeah, staple. A staple. A World Market staple. So if you're looking around for it, that's where you can find it.
Yeah.
At least that's where I found it. I know Total Wine has it on their website, but the only place I could find it available was Alabama. So if you're in Alabama.
Southern Belle. Makes sense.
All right.
You ready to taste this? Or you taste it. For me, first time.
You ready to toast?
Toast. Cheers.
And cheers.
Excuse me.
Ooh. It's like jammy, but not in a sweet way. It's got like the jammy flavor.
I taste a lot of berries.
Yeah.
Like a lot of berry filled.
Like a lot of dark berries.
Okay. Is this a blend or is this a...
It's supposed to be a blend.
Okay.
I've seen some, I'm trying to think of what grapes are included. I actually didn't write that in here. I didn't want to get too wine technical. Because...
We can do a whole episode on that.
Yeah, I could make this episode last an hour and a half. Just talking about all the different wine knowledge. But I know they use a lot of grapes from Spain specifically. So this is a Spanish wine. And
this one sound...
It doesn't sound like it. They didn't list it on here which grapes they use. But you look up on Grateful Palate and they do tell you the specific grapes they use.
It's going to sound very weird. As a wine description. But compared to our... excuse me. Our normal wines, this is a very grapey wine. Like I feel like this is literally like it's not grape jam or grape jelly, but it's like very like high grape flavor versus like when you have the other side other ones we've have a sense of like chocolate or berries or very like oaky because of their barrels they use.
Well, and part of that, I think the flavor is in part to the types of barrels they use, which is something special about this.
And you mentioned it's a bourbon barrels earlier, so it's like okay.
I haven't actually mentioned that yet.
You did?
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's in the name.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I can sense the thing with bourbon, and we've talked about bourbon before and how I think it's like drinking candy sometimes. So I'm like, okay, this is making sense. Not bad.
So this is at least from what I was finding, this is from 2016.
Mm-hmm.
We bought it this year. I believe the most recent vintage. So usually wines go into a bottle, and the year that you see on the bottle is the year that they go from the barrel into the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
So they let this wine sit for about 4 or 5 years.
This is a chicken wine.
Chicken?
Like,
I feel like it's a very diverse wine.
Like-
you
like-
could actually would go really well with just about everything.
like I feel like when you have a very like seasoned steak, it won't complement it too well.
Really?
But I feel like chicken because you can do so much with it.
We're gonna disagree on
Yeah,
this
we're
because
gonna-
we have really different
wine palette.
wine palettes.
Because see, so when it comes to wines and steaks, to me, I prefer a very dry, bold, very dry, heavy cab.
And I like the flavorful cabs or like super Tuscans
Mm-hmm.
where they have these extra flavors, acidic flavors that when you have a well-seasoned steak or red meat specifically, the flavors complement each other.
Yeah.
So that's what I really enjoy.
And that's why I think that the
But
cab.
he likes to have it like the wine muted, whereas I
Well, no,
like
not
the
necessarily
wine
muted.
and the meat to really like bring out each other's
So
flavors.
I-
but
I-
you want the wine to bring out more of the meat's flavor.
Yes, there we go.
Hmm.
That's the thing. Yes, I'm drinking the wine to bring out more of the meat flavor.
And I'm like, I want to enjoy both. I wanted a party in my mouth.
But I I bet you do. But I feel this wine specifically would be good with like not necessarily like a fried chicken, or like no, not a fried chicken. No, I said not a fried chicken. I'm trying to think like what kind of like I was originally thinking like a chicken marsala
Mhm.
would be good kind of thing with like some pasta with it, because of the like it's not lost the words but yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. So I get my,
Maybe as you're drinking,
as I'm
it'll
drinking,
come.
yeah, but all I'm thinking about is like this would be like a good like rotisserie chicken. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Like just grab a rotisserie chicken. The skin's not like crispy, but it has like some flavor to it.
I almost think of like my sibling, how they would make that pounded chicken.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really breaded, but it had like an onion and stuff.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
I feel like it would go really well with that.
I like even a turkey would be good.
Ooh.
turkey?
Oh yeah, this would be a great Thanksgiving wine.
Mm-hmm. Have a turkey, so it's like it with the dryness of the meat, if it's not
Mhm.
cooked properly.
I mean, yeah,
This will help a lot with that.
this would be nice because it's very it has a lot of flavor.
No, yeah.
But it's not like and I know I said earlier jammy, and you were kind of talking about that too.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when we're saying that, we're not saying like that sweet jam, but it's like that
Texture.
like that robust, almost like the texture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like you're tasting preservatives, but you know how when you have fruit preserves,
Mm-hmm.
it's got like this nice little undertone after flavor.
Yeah.
I'm totally digging it.
Mm-hmm. No,
So,
the
I'm
more
like, I'm gonna need a refill.
the more I'm drinking, the more I'm enjoying it, and like this
It is a perfect table wine, I feel.
this is a great dry meat wine, or dry protein wine. Like with this, with like a dry cheese,
Mm.
or like like some nuts, kind of thing. Like not like a juicy meat.
Well, I'm gonna stick with it's pretty diverse
No,
wine.
yeah,
You
for sure.
could, like I said, it's like the perfect table wine.
Yeah.
You can really pair it with a lot of things.
It's not too strong in any like.
Because I even feel like it would go really well with like some seafoods
Mhm.
too. Not all.
No, yeah. I'm trying to think like, yeah, I can see that happen kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um,
I'm even thinking like some breaded shrimp or
Mhm.
something would be really nice with that.
Save for dinner tomorrow. It is definitely a good sharing wine. It's not too far into the sweetness. It's not too far into.
It's not like a red with
it's-
heavy
it's-
tannins.
It's not like a full body one either.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good blend in the middle. We've had some blends that are either really sweet or like really trying to be cabs
Yeah.
kind of thing. So this is definitely not a bad at all. Anyway,
Now I want cheese.
it's a no, right? But we can't eat here. Chew, chew, chew.
I know. This is not a, what is it? ASMR?
ASMR.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So while we're enjoying this, I think we've gone into as much of the flavor as we can describe,
Right.
which is, I feel, pretty descriptive. So let's go into a little about the liquor itself. So this is the very first ever bourbon barrel aged wine. It was an experimental wine that was brought about. That has brought about more wines. That the owner now calls their Southern Gothic collection. So they now have a whole collection of wines that they make from bourbon barrels. But this was the first wine they ever tried to make with bourbon barrels, and it is the first wine. Bourbon barrels have a history of being very, very ugly. So, fun fact, they came from Pappy. Some people might know it as Pappy Van Winkle, or it's Rip Van Winkle Distillery. They're a highly rated, hard to find bourbon style whiskey. Good thing Eric does the second half of this because I'm enjoying this wine too much.
I was about to top you off.
The wine producer is an old friend of Pappy Van Winkle, who owns the distillery. And during a conference that they were attending together, they were both just having a conversation, and it dived into, we should really work on creating something together. And Pappy was like, I'm just going to send you some bourbon barrels and you let me know what you come up with. So the winemakers were not very willing to work with the bourbon barrels. This is like hard to say. Try saying bourbon barrels.
Bourbon barrels. Yep.
Yeah,
hard.
it's hard to say, right? So winemakers refused to put wine in these barrels because they were like, you're going to ruin the wine. They did not like the look of the barrels. They did not think it would produce good wines. But eventually the owner was like, no, I really want to try this. They did a few more experiments. It took them about 4 years to get to what they have now. And now you have the Southern Belle. And from those original barrels, they now are making more to their Southern Gothic collection. Yeah. So the label, as I mentioned before, is very gorgeous. It's meant to mimic, and it is inspired by like fine china designs.
Mm-hmm.
So those beautiful like white chinas with the blue illustrations. That's what it's supposed to look like. And there's actually 3 illustrations. And they're done in I'm gonna hope I don't mess up this word. Triptych layout. So it's where you have 3 different illustrations that come together to make one illustration.
Okay.
So when these bottles were first released, you could actually get a set of all 3 bottle labels together.
Mm-hmm.
But now when you go out, you can only find the one that we have pictured here. And this is taken directly from Grateful Palate in regards to the bottle labels. So this is all quotes. The first bottle is called the Promiscuous Belle. She's wielding her deadly charms on her suitors. And in that first illustration, you have, you can just see a bunch of men's feet crawling under her skirts.
Okay.
The second bottle, which is the one you can see here, is called the Mourning Belle, as in grieving.
Okay.
With all the skeletons of the past emerging from under her dress. And the last bottle is the Homemaker, who tries to contain and control appearances on the estate as if it were a dollhouse. And in that third illustration, it's again another Southern Belle lady, but you can't see her face. It's actually a rose, or it's some sort of flower. I can't remember exactly which one. And she's holding a dollhouse. And ironically, like, It's called the Homemaker, but her dress style almost makes me think it's more childlike. So playing into that whole, she's like a child trying to create this little world.
Neat.
Yeah.
Very neat.
So lots of very interesting
Mm-hmm.
little symbology in there. And did I say that who the artist was?
No.
So the art is done by James Jean, and he actually does a bunch of different triptych bottle labels for Grateful Palate. It's kind of like their thing, I guess. They have this relationship. So they have some other really neat ones too. But I definitely am drawn to the Southern Belle designs. It's very kind of classic, but classy. And yeah, I definitely I get that like old porcelain china feel. So, as I mentioned before, where to find this wine, you can find it at World Market. I did a curbside pickup to get it.
There you go.
If you're just a regular customer, it goes for $22. But if you're a member, it's only $17. So you can save some money that way. It's a very inexpensive wine. And for the flavor and diversity of uses you could apply it towards, whether you're just sipping it or using it for like a nice dinner, I think it's worth the money. So
this is not like a sponsorship or anything, but like not Total Wine. World Market definitely has some interesting wines. Some very like good flavor, like good like full body wines, but just like something more recreational.
I feel like they have a lot of nice, inexpensive
Yeah.
bottles of wine that you can get. So you can go if you're wanting to dive more into the wine world.
Yeah.
But looking for more than just what you're seeing on average in like your grocery store markets or grocery store shelves. World Market is a great place to go.
Yeah.
And the bottles are not too expensive.
And like it's not as overwhelming as going to like a liquor store.
And guys, just if you know you're going to be shopping there frequently, just become a member. It doesn't cost anything. You just give them your email and you automatically get discounts on everything. Yeah. So
again, not a sponsorship, but just
no, it's just like a little
personal,
tip because the liquor drinking hobby, we've talked with a bunch of people, especially like over the Halloween season, how it's like it's so fun to get into, but it can really add up and get pricey. And wherever we can throw out those tips for you to kind of save a buck here and there, we're going to do that.
Yep.
So I hope that's helpful for you guys. But that's it on my end. Not too much about the company, but some interesting facts I thought were still really neat.
So one thing you didn't mention at all, and I was kind of like, wait, did I do the wrong story? We didn't mention anything about the lady in white.
Right. Well, so it's kind of taken into assumption. I know I read it somewhere, but I just couldn't find it, so I didn't feel confident enough putting it in my notes. I was just going off of the actual facts. So if someone else was to look up
got it.
about the winery, because it's actually really hard to find.
Why we keep finding this? Why is spooky labels
to get specific information about the actual people who produce the wines.
Yeah.
Because some people, especially when they put in the effort to do these creative things, they kind of want you to focus more on the artistic aspect than the more technical aspects. And I don't know if you guys are actually like interested in more of the technical stuff or what. So I try to balance it out where it's a little bit about the flavor, a little bit about the distillery, a little bit about the wine or the label to kind of make it so it's not like we're just talking about the liquor making process or we're just talking about this or that. So, I mean, I'd love to hear feedback if you're enjoying that or not. Because this is episode 11. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
A few questions, a few thoughts.
Yes.
You said it's the first bourbon barrel wine.
Yes.
And
bourbon specifically. We have seen wines made from whiskey barrels.
Whiskey and Scotch barrels,
but usually they don't like to use those. They prefer using like French oak barrels. Recycling older barrels. that already had wine in them, or just unused barrels. A lot of wineries specifically, if unless they're trying to experiment with the flavor of the wine,
Mm-hmm.
they want the wine flavors to be as pure as possible with whatever the grapes were. So usually they're not using, because they use like, oh yeah, these barrels came from this whiskey distillery, but they didn't have whiskey in them.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
I feel like, well, so when it comes to the whole barrel to things, I feel like barrel transfer is pretty much like, I have this leftover barrels. I didn't make enough to fill them. Do
Mm-hmm.
you want them?
Mm-hmm.
It's like how the conversation happens.
It's kind of like a
It makes
mutual,
me
like,
think of that commercial for oh, I'm gonna forget now, but John Offerman's whiskey, where he gets a call from Guinness
mm-hmm.
and says, we have all these barrels and we need you to help us save them. Or I know he gets a call from the Scotch company, and it's like, hey, we have all this Scotch, we don't have barrels for them. So he calls Guinness, and he goes like, hey, you guys got barrels? We got barrels. So they put the whiskey Scotch, I can't remember, into the Guinness barrels,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like this whole like adventure kind of thing. It's kind of funny, but it's
But I
like,
think that's actually really accurate.
mm-hmm.
Um,
But I feel like I've heard not here with us, but we've talked about it with different people. Like, go like, oh yeah, you know, so and so knew his friend had a bunch of extra barrels, and so he took them and started playing with them, and see, and now we got this really cool bottle, or this new wine, or this new whiskey, whatever kind of thing.
oh yeah.
So
And I think that's really cool within the liquor making community, I guess, is that they're always really looking out or working alongside each other.
mm-hmm.
It's a competitive environment, but in that it's a supportive competitive environment, if that makes any sense. But it's really cool, especially like
To
if
me,
you do spend a lot more time. Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, to me it makes perfect sense because that's how the strongman world is.
Mm.
It's a very competitive world, but they're all like a lot.
They're cheering each other
They're
on.
cheering each other on.
Because I always think about bottle shock, right? When one winery succeeds, that means everyone's succeeding, because now you're getting everyone to come to wherever your region is of the wine. And maybe they can't get into that winery, but then they're like, well, if this good wine came from here, what are the other wineries producing? And that goes for the distilleries as well. And then you do get a lot of crossover between distilleries and wineries working alongside each other, because one person's success actually does turn into multiple people succeeding.
Exactly. And like in not just in the success of that, like you want the,
I'm getting goosebumps. I love talking about this.
you want that I want to say that partnership with different distillers and wineries, because like, let's just take us for example. You enjoy drinking wine, I enjoy drinking liquor. If you find somebody who has both of them, it's a win for them, because we both go enjoy ourselves, kind of thing. But yeah. Anywho.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yes. It's Would You Rather time.
Would you rather first?
I'm so curious. I'm so nervous too.
I had a hard time. I was telling Chelsea like during our break, it's like I'm having a hard time coming with new Would You Rather because I feel like I got all these good ones out already.
Oh, so yeah. Let's lead into the Would You Rather. I don't know if it's related or not, but Eric was alluding, and then we got sidetracked about the bottle. I feel the bottle is very, and I feel like I read it somewhere, but I just couldn't find where, is very reminiscent and has that vibe of the Lady in White. So I told Eric, let's go with the theme for this episode as like Lady in White kind of feeling, because you do have this Lady in White hiding all these skeletons under her dress, right? And she's in mourning because she's wearing a black veil over her face. You can't see it, which is a very typical of the Lady in White trope.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a veil, but you usually can't see her face. It's covered in some form of darkness. But
it depends on
depending on the story variation or origin.
Yeah, kind of thing. And that's something I want to talk about after a second. But first, would you rather? When it comes to the idea of the Lady in White, if you really look at different cultures, there's going to be different there's gonna be similarities, but different little aspects to it. You know, off the top of my head, you have in the America in the United States, you have the lady in white. It's like somebody who like a hitchhiker or somewhere. You know, you see like an apparition, just like just a lady in a white dress kind of thing. Depends on what your background is or what your beliefs are. Some of them think it's like an omen of something bad, or something, a spirit trying to say, hello, kind of thing. But then you go down to the border, Mexico, Our Lady in White in Mexico. We have La Llorona, kind of thing. You know, a guess a vengeful spirit or a sorrowful spirit. Depends on the story.
Mm-hmm.
You have a version where it's a vengeful spirit against men, who who use their power to take advantage of women, or you have the sorrow story of her losing her children because she tried to get, again, different variations in that. Then you go across the sea to Japan, and then you have that smiling lady in white who takes her mask off and says, "Do my beautiful or am I not?" kind of thing.
Right? Do I look pretty?
They look pretty, kind of thing. So and it goes back to the whole idea of when we talked about when we did the Loch Ness episode.
Mm-hmm.
You have all these stories, similar stories across different cultures. They're not exactly the same, but they have similarities. Then they ask the question: are these things real? Because so many people have seen it, or is this some kind of like giant code that like sprinkles information everywhere, so everybody's like, ooh, kind of thing. So, in the theme of the Lady in White. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you would encounter a Lady in White, would you rather encounter a Lady in White
Mm-hmm.
who wants to take something from you? Like, you have those who have no eyes and want to take your eyes, those who have no toes want to take your toes, who want to take your children. Okay, because her children are gone. Or would you like to encounter a lady in white that is just vengeful towards whatever your demographic is?
That's a hard one.
Do you want to do something or just be attacked?
Yeah, probably vengeful.
Or vengeful?
Oh, yeah. It's a hard one. Because, I guess it would be dependent on what she wants to take.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'd always be worried, like, does she want to take one of my loved ones? So, yeah, maybe I could just ward her off.
Run away long enough?
Or, I don't know. There's little, like, talismans and stuff, right? I'll build her a little ghost house. Maybe she'll leave me alone.
I think this will be the first time we agree on. I'll agree. The vengeful spirit one is better. Like, I'm gonna say easier to fight off, in my opinion. But
yeah, I don't mean easier, but just yeah, I don't.
Because so this one, and the end result is always gonna be you'd be dead, regardless of what happens. Because they're like, I don't like you. You're wearing a red shirt. I don't like you. I hate everybody who wears red shirts. When it comes to the first one, it takes some for you. Like, let's say it takes your eyes. It's not gonna be like let's do like a nice little surgery and close you up. No, it's gonna be like gouge your eyes out and be like, okay, I'm dead.
On the spot.
Kind of thing.
Unless they were a surgical doctor in their past life, highly doubtful.
Well, we don't know, but
in their living life, I should say.
But it's like one of those things. Like, at least this one's if I'm dead, I'm dead. This is like not like if I'm dead, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna be in pain and then die, kind of thing. So I was like, yeah, let's go with the vengeful spirit one, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, I feel like we've had one other where we agreed on it.
I don't remember.
But yeah. I don't know what else to add to that, because it is a hard. I don't know actually if it is a hard choice, because I think I'd rather, like you said, remain intact and dead than like potentially suffering for life.
Yes. So we got two stories today. One a little short one and then one a little long one. Okay. So let's start with the little short one first. According to my father, it happened when he was driving back to the farm late one night. He was by himself, and it was practically dark that evening. There was no stars or moon out, and everything behind him was pitch black. His headlights seemed a bit weak because the lights didn't seem to reach far, but he pressed on anyway. As he was driving down the road, for a split second he caught a glimpse of a woman wearing a white dress with long black hair walking on the opposite side of the road. He did a double take and the lady wasn't there. He figured it was just his mind playing tricks on him, so he just kept going without giving it a second thought. A few minutes passed, and he heard the sound of a seatbelt click in the back seat. When he looked back,
I'm hearing things this episode.
when he looked back, he saw that one of the seatbelts had been done up, but no one was sitting there. When he looked forward again, he saw a pair of eyes staring right at him from the rearview mirror. It looked like she was sitting in the seat, but when he looked back, there was no one there. Just a done-up seatbelt. He locked his eyes forward and drove faster, every now and again glancing at the rearview mirror to see her looking right at him. He told me that he felt her getting closer as he drove, even as he muttered a prayer under his breath. Right when he thought she was about to grab hold of him, he drove across the bridge and heard the seatbelt unbuckle. He looked at the rearview mirror, and the woman staring at him was gone. From that point on, he decided never to drive that stretch of road at night if he could help it.
Mm-mm. No, no. No, 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 no.
No, 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 no.
No, no, no,
Well,
no.
when I first read the story, I was like, okay, this is interesting. Is she like trying to say like thank you or like hey, can you take me here, or is she trying to like take him? I mean, she did like she put her seatbelt on. At least safety first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, was she
Okay.
just a hitchhiker,
Uh-huh.
or did she have other intentions and he just hit the end of her haunting zone?
Right.
Mm. You know, I wouldn't really want to be a ghost that's like, if it wasn't an actual like location, I feel like that would really suck to like haunt a stretch of road or something. Or, I mean, maybe a forest wouldn't be so bad because you have the whole forest to explore in your afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
But
as deforestation happens, your forest gets smaller and smaller
why do you have to be so negative?
because the world is negative.
That's,
You're ready to get really spooked now. Did that spook you?
Yeah. I'm not ready to get spooked, but yes, that spooked me.
Let's get spooked.
I already have goosebumps. I mean, I have a combination of excitement goosebumps from our conversation about wineries working together, and then like that was really creepy goosebumps.
It was a creepy story. I like it. You ready?
Look, I think you could even see them on the camera. These are the scary goosebumps. These are the excited ones. They're going away.
I'm currently sitting in front of my computer, scared whiteless. Every moment could be my last. My friend is here with me, and he is the sole reason why my life's in danger. It may not make sense at first, but let me explain. It all started earlier today when a friend of mine burst into my house and slammed the door behind him. His eyes were wide with fear and he stood there with his back against the door, breathing heavily. I asked him what had happened and he told me the story. He had been living with his aunt for the past year because his parents were in Mexico. They were doing mission work at a small hospital in southern Mexico. The previous night, a bedraggled man had stumbled through the entrance of the hospital. He was screaming in Spanish and appeared to be out of his mind and with terror. They brought him over to a chair and let him sit down. As he caught his breath, he told his story in broken English. He claimed that his sister had been killed by something he referred to as La Muerte Blanca. He kept saying that it was coming for him next. Confused, they asked him who or what is La Muerte Blanca. With a look of unfathomable fear in his face, he said La Muerte Blanca was the White Death. She is the soul of a girl who died years ago. She died by her own hand, he said, alone and unloved. She hated life so much that she wanted to remove all traces of herself from earth. So great was her desire to completely obliterate her memory that she returned from the dead as a vengeful spirit bent on killing all those who knew of her existence. She is a girl, but not a girl, he said. She's not dead, but not really alive. She was cold, black eyes that wept blood. She walked without ever actually seeming to move an inch. She stalks her victim like a wild animal, pursuing them across the river and valleys, trailing them back to their homes. You are never really aware that she is following you until you hear her tall tail knock upon your door. She knocks once for your skin, which she'll use to patch her own decaying flesh, twice for your hair, which she'll gnash between her teeth, 3 times for your bones, which she'll fashion into clubs, 4 times for your heart, which she'll tear out of your chest, 5 times for your teeth, which she'll polish and keep in a box, 6 times for your eyes, which she'll pluck out one by one, 7 times for your soul, which she'll swallow whole. No matter where you go, the White Death will track you down, and you will hear her terrible knocking begin on the door. You can try to outrun her, but she is faster than any mortal man. If you flee from your home, she will knock on your door, and she will follow you wherever you go. The terrified man was certain that this thing had killed his sister. He had tried to tell the police about the White Death, but they would not listen, dismissing it as an old wives' tale. Next, he tried to tell his priest, but the priest immediately shut the door of the church in his face and turned him away. The priest had seen the White Death following him, he said, and did not want to get involved. With his head on his hands, the frightened man said that the White Death follows you forever until you tell someone else about it. Then it strikes. It kills you and begins to follow the person you told. After finishing his tale, the man stole a car from the mission hospital parking lot and vanished into the night. Apparently, his friend's mother and father had immediately called his aunt and told her about the strange man they had encountered. They asked if she had ever heard of the White Death. She said she had not, and they proceeded to tell her the story the man had told them. The aunt got a phone call later that night, and it was Mexican police. They told her that the parents had been found dead outside the hospital. They had been torn apart. My friend's aunt had immediately called him at school to break the bad news to him. As he cried, she told him she couldn't understand what had happened, and she recounted the whole story to him, telling him about the strange man who had turned up at the hospital just hours before his parents were found dead. She told him how...
I need to stop you. I'm hearing lots of knocking sounds. Are you?
I heard one.
Okay, I'm really getting freaked out right now because you should have given a warning that this is like a chainmail story. I've already figured you out. Sorry. I'm really, really freaking out, and I feel like I need to check out the kids.
You want to take a pause?
Oh my gosh. No, we can keep going.
Okay.
But oh my gosh, give me a second here. And yeah, someone must be downstairs getting something because I'm hearing like doors and cabinets opening and closing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not helping. I'm listening to you and I'm hearing like the knocking noises, and I was like, "How many knocks was that? What did he say?" It was like there was like 7 knocks for different things.
I forgot where I left off, but let me just go here. She recounted the whole story to him, telling him about the strange man who had turned up the hospital just a few hours before his parents were found dead.
There we go.
She told him how the man had given his parents a weird and disturbing story about something called the White Death. Then he hung up the phone. He had struggled to come to terms with how it happened. It almost didn't seem real to him. When he got home after school, he found the front door of his aunt's house standing open. Inside, a trail of blood leading to the kitchen. There on the kitchen floor, he found his aunt's dead body. She had been torn limb to limb. He ran out of the house all the way across town, never looking back until he reached my house. As he told me his story, I could hardly believe it. Within the space of the day, his mother, his father, and his aunt had been murdered. It seemed too far-fetched. But before I could utter a word, my friend and I both recoiled in horror when we heard knocking begin at my front door. We've been staring at the door for an hour now, and neither of us wanting to open. The knocking is still going, growing louder and louder. She never gives up. She never quits. La Muerte Blanca is unstoppable. I think she wants to scare us, my friend and I. I think she wants us to blame each other. And I do. I blame my friend. It's all his fault. He should never have told about her. As I sat here in my house beside my friend, both of us listened to the hideous knocking growing ever louder. I wish a lot of things. I wish he had killed my friend before he reached my house. If he had never been able to tell me about her, I wouldn't be in danger anymore. I'm sorry I have ever met him, and I'm sorry for you too. I'm sorry I made you read the story. I'm sorry I ever told you about the White Death, because now you know about her. We're coming for you next.
What the heck, man?
So
That's not okay.
this might be our
I don't
last.
like that.
This might be our last episode, guys.
You know what? I'm gonna throw the skeptic in there just to make everyone feel better because he read the story and he's still alive.
I'm still here.
Before he
Yep.
read it before to pick a story, so it's still freaky
Was it
as
Friday? Thursday. Thursday I read it. No, it was Thursday. No. Yes, Thursday.
still
Wednesday.
freaky.
I read it and I was like, oh, I was really excited for this.
Oh my gosh. I'm Thanks. I'm gonna have nightmares tonight. Are you
You're-
satisfied?
I'm very satisfied.
Oh my god.
As I was reading it
They
again-
won't go away.
So I was reading it, I was like getting all excited. I could feel myself. I like speeding up too fast as I was reading, and I was like, I gotta slow down, but this is very exciting because I could feel the tension growing and growing.
Okay, so I have a couple notes.
Notes.
I'm gonna go backwards. So just to clarify, so the people who were killed were people who were told the story,
Yes.
and they probably didn't pass it on. You're assuming because she got to them. Because if you pass on the story, she won't bother you anymore.
No, she still kills you.
She still kills you no
Yep,
matter
No
what.
matter what you know about her, you did.
Well, that stinks.
Yeah. This is not the ring.
Well, I'm like, and wow, talk about parallels. And ironically, while we were talking about the lady in white, I was going to say or ask, like, do you think Samara would count as a type of lady in white?
Yeah.
Because she's dressed in white, or she appears to you in white.
Also, the grudge.
And I think that's ironic that La Muerte Blanca can go up to 7 knocks.
Mm-hmm.
And
7 days.
yeah, 7 days. Like, is there any correlation or connection to that?
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. No, I mean, I had a question about one of the knocks. Was it use your bones for gloves?
Clubs.
Club. Oh, okay. I had to clarify.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, is she like dressing herself
Mhm.
in your body parts? Because you started off like she wants your skin.
It could be. It could be gloves. There was a lot of spell and everything. Kind of thing. So maybe the spell and will help us.
Hmm. Well, but if you're writing for your life. But I think I've talked about that with the ring before too, right?
Mhm.
Or at least in the Ringu universe, the Japanese version, how Samara adapts
That's
to
cool.
fit the whatever region she's in.
The region is where she's like
Or not region, but
the
yeah.
time. The
she goes with the flow.
yeah, like because like if she shows up right now with a VHS tape, no one's gonna watch that because
Most of us don't have a VHS
we don't know
tape
a
player.
we don't know a VCR
Yeah, there we go.
kind of thing. But yeah, no, like I found like I found a different story earlier, and I when I first was putting it down, I was like, okay, this is a cool story, it's nice, but
You wanted a little something more.
it
Little lingering.
it wasn't sitting right. It was
She's gonna show up in my dreams.
it wasn't like it wasn't like there was something about it that wasn't like enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what? Let's find something else. And I found this one.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
You're
I hope
welcome.
you all appreciate it too.
Yes. Hope you all got a little spooky.
No, I didn't like it. I did not like
Spooky.
it.
So to lighten up the mood,
Oh, you have a little bonus,
I have
huh?
a little bonus. Okay. So starting this episode,
Oh, okay. We're moving on to the next.
next
thing. Okay, I wasn't sure if we were done with La Muerte Blanca.
we're gonna start changing up things because as we are moving on with the liquors, we're it's not that we're falling short on finding them. We have a lot of liquors still to add to our list,
But as we mentioned, it gets expensive.
but it starts to get expensive. And
And we still have some pretty full bottles.
yes,
Just because we haven't had a chance
to,
to
just enjoy them.
enjoy them.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, the last word, we enjoyed plenty, but that's also
didn't
expensive.
we get a second bottle of that?
That's still okay. We're back. No, I'm talking about the chartreuse, the green chartreuse. That's expensive.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, so you're talking specifically about the cocktail.
Cocktail last.
Yes.
But anyway, so we're gonna change things up a little bit. We're gonna start diving into the idea of being a mixologist.
Mm-hmm.
In the thing. We found.
Well, because as we mentioned, like, I think back in episode 0, how we wanted to find spooky spirits, but we also really wanted to play a little bit more with cocktails and mixology. So what better way? We've accumulated 10, now 11 different kinds of liquors.
Mm-hmm.
Why not play with those?
Yeah.
And give you guys, because we gave you like recipes we actually found specifically or directly from the distillers. But then half the fun of experimenting with mixology is coming up with your own cocktails.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know if it was around the beginning of this podcast adventure, or somewhere in the middle. When we're talking about, okay, what's going to happen after we have, what's going to happen when we run out of bottles?
Mm-hmm.
Because eventually we're going to run out of bottles. Kind of thing, you know?
Right.
Yes.
Or it's just going to be a little bit harder to keep finding them and keep it interesting.
Keep it interesting and keep find them. You know, there's a really cool tequila bottle I want to buy, but it's like $500.
Yeah.
And then so
right. So we're finding some really neat stuff out there, but in that whole ideal of keeping things inexpensive and kind of adding that thrifty element for you guys, it gets a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
So then one of the ways we can do that instead is we've set you up with at least a few of the base liquors.
Yeah.
And then now it's time to introduce some fun cocktails
so
that have a spooky, creepy theme or element, inspiration to them.
We found this game they called Clash of the Cryptids.
Mm-hmm.
Cards from Afterlife Comics. And it's like a, for lack of better words, like a Magic Gathering kind of Pokemon game where you have like monsters fight against each other. You know,
right.
Like each cryptid has like different stats. They can use them to like, you know, do that kind of thing. And they have their own little rules on how to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going to play the game.
No.
What we're going to do instead is that on every week episode, we taste a bottle.
Yes.
Every week episode, we taste a bottle. We're going to draw a card. We're going to shuffle the deck, draw a card.
Draw a cryptid card.
Draw a cryptid card. Okay. And I don't remember which one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The cryptid. We're going to tell them who the cryptid is.
We are.
But we're not going to tell you the at least
we won't go into the details about the cryptid until the following episode. So, yeah. We got these cards. They're really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to take a picture, pop them up here for you guys.
Yeah.
Because we were admiring the box the other day.
The box design is really cool.
And it comes from an independent horror comics publisher in the UK. And the cards were just so beautiful, and we knew because we had this idea. Eric came up with this really awesome idea that I'm so excited to execute.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we have this normal format like we've been doing, but then just at the end of the episode, we draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
And then that card will show the cryptid. We'll show it to you guys.
Yeah.
But then we will go in the following episode. So we'll be alternating every episode. We have the format you guys are used to.
Mm-hmm.
And then the episode after that will be the cryptid episode.
The cryptid episode.
So I guess shifting from like random spooks and curses and hauntings to a specific like creature.
And you know, and in front of the format of the episode will be, the first part will be talking about the creation of a cocktail, because we will be creating a cocktail themed for each of the cryptids. So we'll see how well we do in this. So Chelsea and I will work on them together, kind of thing, and we'll talk about what our thought process was to making this happen. You know, what made us,
why it was inspired by that creature, or what elements we worked into it, and we're gonna try and repurpose the spirits that we are featuring or have featured up to this point.
Or if not that, something you can easily get your hands on. They might not be,
right. Or we'll try to make it where it's like, oh yeah, you can use any tequila,
or kind of thing, like,
or specifically a reposado, or
whatever kind of thing. So it'll be something that will be hopefully still budgetable to like, not to break a bank and not to hold by a whole nother liquor cabinet kind of thing, but it's still something fun that we want to see how it turns out kind of thing. So, I think we're gonna do our first draw.
Yeah.
I gotta shuffle these because they've been in the box. I haven't shuffled them.
We don't really know if there's an order to them or anything. Like,
did they
like
seem to be?
Eric mentioned, we're not gonna play the game. Because we're using it for this purpose.
I think they were in alphabetical order.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. That's, at least when I was looking at them last time.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm over here. I think they're in alphabetical order because I was looking through just doing like start with the A and then it had like the Y at the end. Kind of thing.
And we'll be sure to take out so we don't get a repeat.
Yeah.
We'll take the card out. I'm sure there's gonna be someone who's like, what happens if you draw the same card again? We won't. We'll take it out.
We'll make another cocktail.
So there's 40 cards. I looked it up.
Okay. And then for my part of the episode, I'm gonna go into the description about the creature.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a little cool description on the cards already. I'm gonna try to find more into it, and then I'm gonna try to find a legend or story. Yeah.
And then if you guys just want to start tuning into the cryptid episodes, I'm gonna introduce a fun. So in place of Eric's Would You Rather's, I'll be doing like a guess who's next kind of thing. So you'll be able to take a guess at what the next cryptid's going to be until, if you're watching sequentially, we'll reveal it in each episode.
We'll reveal it, and then you get a chance. It will give you some clues, and like it won't be like just, hey, lottery, pick a theme of the hat kind of thing.
No. I'll come up with a fun little riddle or something.
Yeah. So we'll play with that aspect of things. Can you cut the deck for me?
Of course. That sounds good.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Now, should I pick from the top or the bottom?
I don't know. Where would you normally draw?
You asked somebody. You know, like a magic trick, top or bottom?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll go for the top for this.
Yeah, I would say top.
Okay.
That's what I do for tarot.
For our next episode. Oh my goodness.
What do we got?
It is funny.
What do we got?
We got the chupacabra.
Oh, seriously?
Seriously. The first cryptid is going to be the chupacabra. It's going to be fun.
Oh.
I have some ideas already.
Yay.
I do have some ideas.
All right. Well.
Okay. This is cool. Okay, cool. And that's that part for that.
Yeah, I feel like I should write that down, huh?
We're very excited for this. We've had this when we found the cards. We were like, okay, let's wait till we have a little spending money so we can buy them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we did, they sold out, and we're like, oh,
I know, we were so disappointed, and we contacted them like, hey, are you gonna restock? And they're like, you know what? We are planning to do it. We'll contact you when we do. And then they did. And we're like, take our money.
Kind of thing, because it was something we want to do for that kind of thing. You know, there's certain things that we found that we want to add to our situation. We have our little ghost tears, you know, all around us. And that we know we found during Halloween. Be like, okay, we'll do that. There was a ghost we want to buy from Spirits. We didn't get a chance to. Hopefully it'll be around next year because I really want to buy him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be cool when we ever get a bigger space kind of thing.
Yeah. It'll be like our moving our moving gift to ourselves.
But yeah, so then, we got this, and it's really cool to have this, and
we're really excited about that because it gives us a chance. I really wanted to play more with the mixology aspect. I know a lot of you guys have really been enjoying some of the original cocktails we've been coming up with, and we thought this would be a great way to introduce new cocktails, and then but also still keep the creepies coming.
Yeah, kind of thing, you know, and you know. Like we mentioned earlier, this episode was Ladies in White, and we mentioned the Nessies back in the Costumes Monster episode. This is gonna be really cool to dive into the whole where is this creature found, or how is this creature similar to other creatures and where it's located thing.
Right. Oh, and that I want to add that for this cryptid deck, one thing that really drew us to it is that it's from cryptids worldwide.
Yeah, it's not just one location; it's all over the world. When I was looking at it last time,
we had like Native American cryptids,
we have Russia,
Spanish cryptids, like Spain Spanish, and Africa. So they have it all over the place.
It's like it's not gonna be like every
It won't be
location.
every. It's only 40.
Yeah.
And I know for those who aren't familiar with cryptids, you're like, only 40? That sounds like so many. But you look at the United States, I have seen maps where it's like there's a cryptid for every state.
Yep.
So,
Kind of thing.
and U.S. has 50 states.
50 states. There we go.
So there's a cryptid for each of the 50 states.
So,
Or just each of the states.
each of the states.
I'm trying to figure out how I can make this so it's a smoother editing. So there's tons of cryptids out there. This is covering 40 different cryptids, probably like the bigger heavy hitters.
Yes.
But as we were just kind of randomly, we didn't want to like look in depth because we want to be surprised by the cards we draw.
Yeah.
Ironically, we happen to know what the chupacabra is. But if you don't, I'm excited for
I
us to
have
talk
some
about that.
cool things about that.
But it did have quite a few that we were like, what is that? I've never heard of
Yeah.
that. So it'll be really exciting. I think this will be a fun element to kind of throw in there for you
Yeah.
guys.
Kind of like surprise for us, surprise for you guys, and then we get to play around with making cocktails,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. And I have, okay, my brain's going like a million miles per hour.
I know, we're so excited. This is like our episode 0 for, it's almost like a new part because
Yes.
we took our break and now we're introducing this new element.
Yeah.
So we're like, we've talked about it a lot, but now we're getting to share it with you guys,
Yes.
and we're just really excited, and I hope we're getting you guys hyped for it.
Yeah, I hope
too.
you guys are getting excited for it, and I hope you guys give us feedback on this kind of thing, to see what you
Mhm.
guys think of this idea when this comes out, and then when the first one comes out, see what you guys think. And if you guys want to mix it along with us, your own creations, let us know. Maybe we'll feature you guys in the future stuff, kind of to be like, hey,
Ooh.
I like what you did, but I think this would be a cooler idea, kind of thing. Hey,
Mhm.
you know what? We're not
Yeah,
mixologists.
just like in our disclaimer right at the beginning, we're not professional mixologists. We found a craft cocktail class we really want to take,
Mm-hmm.
but just hasn't lined up just yet
No, yet.
in our cards.
But
But it doesn't.
Hasn't
Oh my
lined up
god,
yet.
yeah. But we are familiar enough with cocktail
Mhm.
mixology that we feel confident enough to kind of play with this.
Mm-hmm.
But we know there's people out there who have so much more knowledge than we do, and we're always open to hear it.
Yes.
And we like to learn
We
about
love,
this
yeah,
stuff.
No, kind of thing.
That's half the time I think why Eric goes to when we do tastings, because it's like, oh, I might learn a little something
Yeah,
more interesting
I'm
about wine.
yeah, might learn about wine or something different, kind of thing.
I might not enjoy it, but
yeah,
I can learn something.
Exactly. And we've talked about before. My experience with rum. I've learned so much about rum just
Mhm.
trying different rums. I've tried different whiskeys and scotches and this thing. I've tried bourbons. And
Yeah.
But so yeah, this is gonna be fun. Little
Yeah,
adventure.
we're excited.
Kind of thing.
I
Sorry for
hope you guys can tell. We're
prolonging
really.
our ending on this thing, but
Mhm.
let's call it.
Is it time to do last call?
Let's do our last call.
All right.
Thanks for sipping along with us. We want to keep the spirits flowing, so please be sure to show your support by reviewing, subscribing to our podcast. If you enjoy this show, be sure to share with others. We want to say thank you for all the support we've been getting on these things, all our viewer participations, our
Mhm.
views and stuff.
We're blown away.
We're blown away.
We don't have any words. Because honestly, when we started this, we were like, if we hit 10 downloads per episode,
We'll be like,
it'll
yes,
be amazing.
it'll be amazing.
And we have far surpassed that.
Yes,
You guys, you blow us out of the water
you guys
every
seem to
time.
enjoy this, so this is cool.
Yeah, so we keep doing it because we're having fun.
Yeah.
But we really love hearing from you guys and talking with you and chatting with you about the liquors.
Yeah.
And like, I get excited every time someone like shares on Instagram, look, I found this because Sips and Spirits recommended it. I'm like, oh my gosh, yay.
And our first 7 episodes have been fun to do, and
Mhm.
it's been fun just to see you guys' reactions. Like we get comments here and there, but it just seeing how many you guys share us, how many you guys like talk about us to other people, how many in our communities people like just say, hey, you guys, looking for someone for Scooby Stories and like some cool cocktails, look them up, kind of thing.
We're infinitely thankful, and it's so weird to like have people like throw us out as the liquor experts.
I know, right? It's like
because we're not. I hope you know that, right?
I drink a lot.
We
but
just
I'm
have
not
a
an
lot
expert.
of fun.
Just because I drink a lot, I mean I know a lot.
We're just experts on fun, enjoying your spirits.
Yes, kind of thing. So, thank you for that, and be sure to follow us around.
Right. If you're
Instagram.
looking for us,
We're all
Sips and Spirits. Sips and Spirits. Our website, added.com to that. We're on all podcast hosts. You look Sips and Spirits. But Sips and Spirits will pull it up. Any social media that you may frequent, specifically Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, we do have. I've been noticing people really engaging on Facebook.
Okay.
YouTube, you guys really want to see how we're interacting, this is a great place to do it. And like I said, when you want to see like the pictures of the bottles and things, YouTube's a great place to see that, get the interaction, more the visual interaction. I know that's my personal consumption preference when it comes to podcasts. So if you are one of those people and you didn't realize we have a YouTube, please check it out. Yeah.
You can see my lovely, beautiful beard I have. I hope it grows more. Anyway, we hope to catch you along the bar next time. Cheers.
Cheers.